In this video, we're talking all about the Logitech G29 racing wheel, one of the most popular racing wheels that have ever come out in the history of racing wheels for PlayStation. This has PlayStation 3 compatibility, PlayStation 4 compatibility, and also PlayStation 5 compatibility. I've done tests on the PlayStation 5, and yes, it absolutely works on it. With the PlayStation 5 Slim, with the USB connection of the Logitech racing wheel, just connect it at the back. The cable's long enough to be able to connect it at the back. And yes, let's talk about the best settings for the Logitech G29 for your setup. With the Logitech G29, it is generally pretty easy to set up. Just with the PlayStation 5, if you're ready to use it for the PlayStation 5, just making sure that this switch at the top here, right here, is for the PS4 setting. And that'll be able to be used with the PlayStation 5, and you can use it for multiple types of games. People have asked me, does it work with simulation games such as Bus Simulator, the most random question in the world? But yes, it absolutely works with it. Once you've connected it to the PlayStation 5, you will be able to use it as a controller. It's hard to miss not being able to use it as a controller. From there, you can calibrate it. We can do all sorts with the Logitech G29. It is a lot of fun. So let's look into all of that stuff. Once you've unboxed the Logitech G29, you then want to plug in all the adapters. It comes with separate adapters. So what they've done is actually made a lot of different cables quite accessible. So basically you can actually do some cable management, which is really good. So there's your first tip for management of cables. You actually have these little slots here to actually do some cable management. You've even got adaptions for extra accessories, such as the shifter, which is an extra accessory that you can use with this Logitech G29 and other racing wheels, which is pretty cool as well. For just attaching this to a table. These are all the basics, by the way, just running through some basics. It's really easy to attach this to a table. So this thing basically just turns, so a lot of people, I guess me at first, got really confused about this as well, but basically you just twist it, turn it, and that way you can put it on a table. So there's some basic stuff right there. With the basics of the actual wheel itself, we got the PS3 and the PS4 setting, switch to the PS4 once again for actually using the racing wheel. We've got 3 different pedals. We do have a clutch pedal, which a lot of you said, I don't know what a clutch pedal is because I don't drive manual. I drive auto, bro. So that's why I didn't know. But anyway, we got the clutch, we got brake, we got go, anyway, acceleration, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, we actually have full customization of this with the Logitech G Hub, as well as on the PlayStation 5, there is different calibration settings that we could look at as well. So yeah, this all connects via USB cable, so connect this to the back of your PlayStation 5 Slim and it should work just fine. You have connection issues, for example, then connect it again, disconnect it, try again, unpower it, load it up again. I reckon it'll work after a couple of tries. Making sure that your system updates for your PlayStation 5 are enabled so we can have the latest and greatest technology with the PlayStation 5. It's always good to update your PlayStation 5 for connection as well. And you can also do firmware updates with the Logitech G29 wheel as well, which is really good. When you connect it to the PlayStation 5, you can press the PlayStation home button right here, and that way you can actually use it once you've connected it, and it'll pretty much pop up, and then it will pretty much come up as a normal controller. And then from there you have still basic options here, just from selections, and then you've got your PlayStation buttons here as well. Works similar to Xbox as well. Even got a little scrolly wheel, which is pretty fun as well. This is mainly for Gran Turismo setups, which is really good, but it also works for like F1. There's also in-game settings where you can really customize your Logitech G29 experience. So you can go into Gran Turismo and adjust your racing wheel to different calibration settings, such as different brake sensitivity and all sorts, and driving sensitivity settings, which is really fun. So you want it to go into your options, controllers, go into your racing wheel settings, and look at force feedback settings. So with Logitech G29, it doesn't have the rumble or haptic feedback like some of these other racing wheels have, but it definitely still has some force feedback features, just basic. But basically you can adjust that to how you like it. Adjusting the sensitivity will allow you to have the better experience with your Logitech G29. A general adjustment would be from 5 to 7 with the force feedback settings. So that would be on the max torque setting, so 5 to 7 on the max torque. Force feedback sensitivity is another option, so you want to sort of go with the recommended 3 to 5 sort of ranges there. You don't want to go too high, you don't want to go too low with force feedback. You want to make sure that's down the middle there, so 3 to 5 is that perfect happy medium. There's also other games with different settings, such as F1 for example. Once again, go into your settings and controls with this game and look at, it's under vibration and force feedback, so you want to make sure that's about 80 to 90%. That's where a lot of people recommend. And then you can fine tune your on throttle or off throttle. People like to change the throttle controls for better general control of your racing wheels, so you want to look into that, test out the different settings and find the best one for you if you want the on throttle or the off throttle for you. In terms of force feedback, once again, like the Logitech G29 doesn't really focus on a force feedback feature, whereas with the Logitech G29 I've played around with that one, that has more of a resistance and force feedback feature, whereas this does not have as much of that, but it's still quite good. It still has some of these features enabled. So you can look into that, focus on some vibration features for your Logitech G29. So you want to look at where you feel the best textures of the road and everything with the vibrations. So setting it around 50 to 70% is a happy medium around there. It's sort of adjust and then do some gameplay, see how you feel, and if you don't really like it, then go back and sort of lessen it or increase it, however you like it. Another really good setting is the sensitivity settings, so you want to make sure that you have the best sensitivity for you as a user. There's this thing called dead zones, so you want to reduce dead zones in terms of your steering, so you could have better control over your general racing. It's for more precise controls over your gameplay when racing with one of these racing wheels. You can actually set your steering dead zone to 0% for more control over your gameplay, so there's a top tip for you there as well. You start with a 50% sensitivity setting as well to sort of find that happy medium, and then adjust further or lower depending on how you're driving. If you want less sensitivity, it's probably better. So if you're a beginner, for example, then you could have more control over your gameplay without going too much off the road, for example, or you can heighten the sensitivity if you like, so you could have more control over your gameplay if you're a bit more experienced with it. You can also get calibration settings for the different pedals. For example, you could have different braking calibrations, so that's how much sensitivity is for the brake or how much sensitivity is for the acceleration. Probably go for like a higher sensitivity for the acceleration. So I don't know, I like driving with a high sensitivity for acceleration and definitely a higher sensitivity for the braking as well. So you don't have to press down as much because there's a lot of, I don't know, spring-loaded feedback on these pedals. So actually using those sensitivity settings would be really good, and calibrating. So the main two calibration settings is the brake calibration and the throttle calibration as well. For the brake, people recommend about that 50 to 70% sort of range. And then you could set the throttle sensitivity to the adjusted sensitivity that you like in the gameplay. Once again, just adjust it how you like it. If you don't like it, then maybe lessen it or increase it. Just play around with it to find your perfect settings. But a lot of these settings and a lot of these ballpark figures have helped you find a happy medium with your Logitech G29 gameplay or other racing wheel gameplays in your setup. Hopefully you enjoy this racing wheel. It's a lot of fun, especially with Gran Turismo and F1 and even Need for Speed Unbound. It connects to all the simulation games, so you could have a lot of fun with this racing wheel. Have yourselves a beautiful one, and I'll see you guys next time.